I'm gonna introduce something new for this Rostermania season. Feast your eyes on the please fucking announce something board, or the PFASB. Whichever one sounds less like an STI, patent pending. This is all of the Tier 1 Siege teams that were expected to finalize a new roster before the start of the 2022 season. So far, we've only crossed off Fnatic, Invictus, XQ Confirm, and Astralis, and for this video, we're crossing off Cowana, because they're not Cowana anymore. Elevate, Virtus.pro, Parabellum, and beastcoast, with some other updates to teams releasing players in just the last few days. We are knee-deep in this shit at this point, and I know it might be difficult to keep track of a lot of these things, but I know you've got thoughts on these moves. I've certainly got thoughts on these moves, so why don't we make this board a little bit less cluttered? To start, what's probably the biggest news so far of the past couple of days, Heroic are back in the EUL after signing the Cowana Gaming roster and saving me the pain of wondering whether you pronounce it Cowana or Cowana. I've literally never known. It's the same team of Benja, Gorgona, Grizzly, and Sloth, but because Anarchic moved into a coach role a couple of weeks ago, the team had an open spot to fill. Welcome back, the return of the king, the sexiest man Siege has ever seen, Uuno Meister. The man has been without a home since getting benched from G2 back in June of last year. June of last year. This is why the transfer window really hurts players that get dropped in the summer. Point is, he's back, Heroic is staying in the EUL, which is really good news on the org side, and they also currently hold the title for best announcement video of the shuffle. They just put everybody into a frozen tundra to go find Uuno just to pull a jersey out of a briefcase. It's perfect, nonsensical, overdramatic crap, and I love it. It's a guilty pleasure for me. They weren't the only EUL team to make changes in the last week. Virtus.pro have reactivated Pasha, Milon, and Rask, and are signing Smash by Ash from the old Hellraisers core, and FMX, who's played for several Tier 2 Russian teams over the past year plus. Honestly, that old Hellraisers team had a lot of talent on it and was super close to getting into the EUL before they got gatekept by Eminem in secret. So it's only logical that the Tier 1 CIS teams would want to tap into some of that talent. Though why VP went with Smash over Amissian, who was arguably the best player not named Usus in the EUCL, remains to be seen. It felt like VP just wanted to inject some new blood into the unit, which on paper isn't bad considering the players that they've dropped didn't really feel like they were taking the team anywhere. Admittedly, because VP's not been to any majors, I've not really been watching them too closely, but I am excited to see Smash by Ash finally get his call up. The last part about this signing, though, is a little bit more somber. VP have also signed Viking as their new head coach, who is Ukrainian and said on Twitter that he's still in Kiev and has not been able to prepare properly because of the war. So, Viking, certainly hope you're doing well. Please keep yourself safe, and we hope to see what you can do with this team soon. On the North American side of things, both Parabellum and beastcoast revealed their full new lineups today, which honestly creates more questions than it answers, and that's for both teams. PB has signed Creators, making him the first member of the old relegated XSET team to return to the NAL. Blaz from the old Heroic lineup, which makes him the 4th EU import to NA in Siege history. It was Sleben, Gomfy, Sloppy, and now it's Blaz, and Wimpy, who will be playing in Blaz's place until his visa gets sorted. Obviously, replacing Spirits is going to be difficult anyway. People argue he's kind of the heart and soul of that Parabellum roster and the whole run that they made. And it was going to be nigh impossible, but that's kind of what they're hoping Blaz can do. But he's not able to play yet. Creators felt very up and down during his time on XSET last year. Wimpy definitely deserves a CL call-up for the amount of time he spent in CL. I'm pretty sure it was like 2 years. But I'm not yet certain if all of these new puzzle pieces for Parabellum are actually going to work out. I think all of them are Tier 1 caliber players, it's just a matter of how they mesh. And beastcoast, where do I begin? I'm super mixed on this whole thing, but the players themselves, Anthony was the only one who was on the lineup last year for this team, so now Slashhug, Drip, Surf, and Sweater are joining him, which, as a recap, one of them hasn't played in Tier 1 competition for a year, one of them left XSET in a really bad way after 4 months, one of them had one good stage in the entirety of CL for last year, and the last is returning to top flight competitive play after serving a 1-year ban for getting blasted by a battle eye. You see how this raises more questions than it answers? I don't want to deliver contempt prior to investigation or anything, but it feels like there's always one team in NA every year that's put together from whatever is left. Arguably, all of these players at their peak would have made this a really interesting squad, but now, given all of those factors I've mentioned, I'm a lot less certain. Obviously, the team has their reasons for thinking that this lineup will work. I just don't see it yet. Aside from NA and EU, Elevate has signed 2 new Thai players in Mr. Punch and Mark Shortboys. How short do you think he is? That's to replace Nerix and Napiu on the team after both of them left the lineup a couple days ago. No idea how these new guys play, but losing Napiu already makes me sad, so hopefully they can keep Elevate's hot streak alive and give more rat-a-tat things. Why did it have to be him, man? And the other roster quick bits. Alright. Nures has been signed by OXG, which I think makes him the first player since Kansan to get an NAL call-up without prior CL experience. Furia has let go of both Highs and Lenda. Black Dragons have dropped Live and the last of their coaches. Xset has posted something on Twitter finally confirming Bodega is coming to the NAL. God bless Twitter for that one. The whole 2022 season is being postponed a few days without even revealing when it was meant to begin. And apparently the test server is closed, which means pro players can't scrim on that new build until it reopens again or the season itself gets released, which we don't even have a release date for that yet. Like, this is why I don't like being a news channel. So let's take a look at the please make a fucking announcement board. What the hell was it called again? We've crossed 5 more teams off the list today, but we're still waiting on G2, Empire, Rogue, X Vitality, Xset, Oxygen, Mirage, Team 1, Black Dragons, Furia, INTZ, W7M, Direwolves, Knights, and Chiefs to announce their teams for next season. And that's just the ones we know about. We are not out of the woods yet. And I would be like, yeah, we've got 2 weeks for teams to make announcements, but now we don't actually know how long teams have to make announcements. So it could be any time. But just as a reminder, the transfer window itself has now closed. So teams have made confirmations of these new squads behind the scenes. They just haven't said anything about it publicly yet. So, what did you think of this last round of Rostermania? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. Who's going to make changes next? Over here next to my head or my socials, at CaliberJacob, roster shuffles, forever. That's not my outro.